Hickory dickory dock. The mouse ran up the slot. I have no idea what that means, guys, but thanks for tuning in to another broadcast. Today I want to talk about Amazing Spider-Man number 794, or more specifically, how Mockingbird KOs DanSlott's Mr. Dream with one punch. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with Mr. Dream, I will definitely get to that. Long story short, this particular tale has been 1 year in the making, or more specifically, this particular letdown, this particular disappointment, this particular anticlimax. It involves the terrorist organization Zodiac and the bad guy Scorpio, or was it Scorpion? I'm losing track here. No, it's Scorpio. So, anyway, roughly a year ago in Marvel time, DanSlott's Spider-Man decided that this guy who he gained access to a key that would give him, let him into a dimension of pure power and knowledge. And he didn't know what to do, and so he decided he would push the guy into the dimension, the soup, the cosmic soup of pure power and intelligence, 1 year's worth of intelligence, and then lock the door behind him. I said at the time that was just like someone's trying to break into your house and you just push them inside and then lock it from the outside and then say, like literally, as Peter Parker said, "I bet you didn't see that coming." Yeah, no duh, because that's the stupidest thing you could possibly do. So, going back to the Mr. Dream angle right now. So, this story took place at a time when, Spider-Verse had ended, and it was in between kind of storylines. It was like Dan didn't quite know what he wanted to do. It was like the reboot. He was introducing Silk, spending a lot of time with her, and there was this, there was like essentially a year's worth of Zodiac tales with this villain, and when you have a villain, the bad guy, the ultimate boss. You want him to be someone who's worthy of the hero. So when I was a kid, Nintendo Punch-Out with Little Mac, you finally get to Mike Tyson. Anyway, they re-released this game when I was a kid. I remember going to somebody else's house, and he's like, "Yeah, I want to play Punch-Out." I was like, "Yeah, whatever." Blah, blah, blah. You get to the end. It's Gronk, Gronk from the Patriots, Mr. Dream here, and this was after, they re-released it after Mike Tyson's kind of like rape conviction or whatever. I'm assuming that's what it was about. But, it actually would have made it better if they just would have left it Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, because then he was like a real villain when he was convicted or whatever. But anyway, Mike Tyson was like the baddest guy on the planet, baddest boxer on the planet. He replaced him with this loser, Mr. Dream. And I was just like, what the heck is this? This is stupid. This guy even looks like Scorpio. It's just lame. It's just dumb. So we've spent, a year, previously building up to him getting pushed into this dimension of pure energy and power. And he comes back 1 year later, and it was like, oh, he's going to do something with all this knowledge. He comes back. Horizon Labs has set up some sort of containment unit because he's so freaking powerful. They need to blast him with this containment field, this purple, beam or whatever. So it has been established that this guy is powerful. Even without his key in his hand, he's supposed to be a force to be reckoned with. And anyway, his key comes back, and he decides he's only got an hour to do whatever the heck he's going to do with this, knowledge that he gained, all the secrets in the world. And it just so happened that his company worked on Big Ben in London and put stuff in it so where he could upload and use this magic key to release, WikiLeaks style, all the secrets of the entire world online or whatever the heck. Pretty sure governments around the world would hit the kill switch on the internet, some sort of essentially kill switch if that happened. But regardless, that was his big plan, was just to information dump secrets online an entire year to plan this out. You know, there's nuclear missile silos all around the entire world. There's all sorts of things he could have done. He decided with this magical, you know, his company worked on Big Ben. What the heck? I don't even remember that. Someone could point me to that if that happened. The key would then go into Big Ben and download everything. Even though it's magical, there's so many problems with this. So Peter decides that the one way to get the key out of Big Ben is to bash this guy. He flies through the clock tower. And again, it's been established that he's probably powerful enough to take this punch. If he's strong enough to punch the guy literally through Big Ben with that much force, you know, he doesn't break his neck. I'm pretty sure that he could survive a fall to the ground. But anyway, Peter says, you know, the key is going to then go to Scorpio, which it does. It releases, it disengages from the clock. You know, and at the time he was like, please work, please work, please work. You know, whatever. But anyway, the key, the magic key goes to him. He gently touches the ground. And then as soon as he touches the ground, Mockingbird, Peter's girlfriend, the one he's living on her couch, Bobbi Morse, one punches this guy. And she, with one punch, she sends blood out of his mouth, and he is knocked the heck out, and she has saved the day. So here's the other thing. For those that aren't aware, there's a subplot where there's a private kind of like contractor who now is in charge of all these different relics, and they're located at the bottom of the ocean. And Norman Osborn has hired, you know, he was able to get his own moles within this kind of private contractor. They steal, you know, the Carnage, the symbiote from the underground lair as it's like falling apart. You know, like they set off bombs, and anyway, they bring back, you know, essentially Carnage to Norman, and this will obviously set up, you know, the stories in the months to come. So this actually felt to me like one of those things where it's like another loose end. Dan's like, oh crap, Scorpio, yeah, I pushed him 1 year into the future. I got to do something with that, but I really just want to do this Red Goblin thing. So, okay, let's just have Mr. Dream get his butt kicked by Bobbi with one punch, and then people will remember this issue, and like the collectors and the speculators will be like, this was the issue where, you know, the birth of the Red Goblin, because that's when he got his hands on Carnage or something like that. So that's really the only useful part of this entire comic was the last page. But it goes to bad writing again, as I've said before. We don't even need to get into like SJW stuff. This is, Dan has set up this character as, you know, he has a certain level of power to him, literally shoved into, you know, like I said before, a cosmic, mystical, metaphysical mist of pure power and energy and knowledge, you know, and then he comes out and he's just takes, you know, Bobbi hits him with a baton one time in the face, and he's being hauled off by cops in like the next panel. It's ridiculous. So this book was called Threat Level Red Part 1. Really, it's just Threat Level Slott Part, I don't even know, 10 years or whatever he's been on in The Amazing Spider-Man. I really can't wait until, I don't know who's taking over on Spider-Man, but it's time for Slott to go. That's about it for now, guys. Just wanted to get one actual comic book review in this week. There's been a lot of, you know, the online stuff happening, and I got away from the comics. So here is a Spidey review for you. Hope you liked it. Thanks to all my Patreons. Thanks to everyone who's tuned into the live chats over the past year or whatever it's been. I'll try and get another one of those in the very near future. Again, thanks for everything, and I'll see you guys soon. See ya. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to today's bonus section. I wanted to let you guys know that it is the first Doug prizes being offered of 2018. So for my Patreon members, they will receive, the first person who comments when I post this on Patreon, Jordan Peterson, 12 Rules for Life, Doug Prize, they will receive that book with illustrations by Ethan Van Sciver. And the first person who is not a Patreon member, who also goes to my Patreon page and comments Fahrenheit 451, Doug Prize, you will receive Ray Bradbury's book. And then I will somehow be in contact with you. We'll figure out some way to get in contact with one another. Patreon members, I can do it privately. For those who are not members of Patreon, maybe you'll become one. Or you can contact me privately on YouTube or Twitter, and I can get your address, and then I'll send those out to you as soon as possible. Usually I wait until after payday. So, we'll figure something out. But anyway, that's the deal. Patreon members, 12 Rules for Life, first person to comment on the page, Patreon page, and non-Patreon members, Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. Just go to the Patreon page and comment as well, and it'll be yours, the first person. So again, guys, thanks for tuning in. There'll be more Doug prizes throughout the year. And yeah, again, thanks for tuning in, and I really appreciate it. See you guys.